My name is Brian Smawley. They call me Chef Lubu, and I am the kitchen manager and head chef of Battle & Brew. Battle & Brew started around 8.5 years ago as a place for some friends to get together, have some beers, and play some video games, in a bar-type environment. Since then, it's grown into a much more important facet of Atlanta's geek scene, serving to facilitate geeks and nerds and gamers and all sorts of people from all walks of life as a place of comfort where they can come and hang out with other like-minded individuals and celebrate their geekdom. Working here is pretty awesome. You get a lot of opportunities to talk to just about everyone from every walk of life in the geek community. You learn a lot about people, and you have a chance to really reach out and actually be a part of the community and help shape the community, into something bigger and better. Atlanta being such a massive facet of geek community as a whole, with Dragon Con and MomoCon and all the other stuff, and the rise in game developers that we have coming here, we kind of serve as a great central hub for them to come into and hang out and network with other geeks and network with us who have those connections to other people. We get a lot of different game devs, messaging us online, talking to us, and it gives us a way of communicating between two different developers so that you can have that sort of cross-talk, cross-innovation, even if it's something as strange as doing it through a bar or a pub, which I always think is the best place to do it. Pubs are a great place to talk and have communities, and that's what we're about. I am the kitchen manager as well as the head chef, and I also host trivia on Wednesdays, which we do geek trivia every Wednesday at 8:30, and for that, it's just hosting trivia. We cover a wide variety of topics, but we always have a slammed crowd, which is great. We'll have, we can have 200 people in here for a Harry Potter trivia, which is always phenomenal. And it's great. And as host, I get to interact with all those people and kind of be the face of the company, which is awesome. Other than that, I am also the kitchen manager and the head chef. So things like, doing the ordering, doing the menu, making new food, working with my brother, who's my sous chef, to make sure that the food is up to par, innovating in the kitchen. And a lot of our food items that we have on the menu are inspired by or related to, and sometimes stretching, but we try to tie them into video games, and we try to tie them into geek culture. And we actually take time to talk to writers and look at, like, well, what would the Yordles in League of Legends eat? Was an actual conversation I had with the lead writer for Riot Games last night on Twitter. I was, parsing him for stuff like that, and as a result, I get to see a little more insight into what video game writers might think about, like, oh, well, what do the Solarians eat? What does the Solarian diet in Mass Effect consist of? Are they more of a vegetable people? So it's a really, really distinct, unique job that I don't think any other chef has ever had the opportunity to do, or at least not taken the opportunity to do. And so I pride myself on my ability to go to those people and talk to them, grown up to grown up, and say, explain to me this world, give me a more fleshed out setting so that I can create something that would, benefit everyone. It benefits us because I get to experiment with dishes. It benefits the customer because they get to try it. It benefits the game developer because now they have a new special way of word of mouthing. If we make a drink that looks like the lotus flower from Warframe, we can send that to them, and then they post that, and now it's like, oh man, not only is Warframe awesome, it's so awesome that people are making cocktails over it, or people are making food about it, So we serve as a catalyst for a lot of that stuff, and that's probably one of my favorite parts of the job. Coming up with a new dish is always an endeavor. It's very distinct. A lot of times, if it's for a special, which is a weekly thing, we're going to want to look at what's seasonal, what's fresh, and how do we use it, and how can we use it, and how can we tie it in. And that may come with, and that doesn't always start that way, because we may have a game that we want to make something for. We may have a new title or something that says, oh, this just came out and it has this setting. I think that's really cool. Can we do something with that? And the biggest part of that is coming up with, now we have to tie in a food, and that's when I start hitting people up on Twitter and Facebook and the internet and blowing up their emails. But if I have a food and I want to tie it in, sometimes it just means that I have to modify what I thought was my recipe and say, well, what can we do to either change the plating or change the textures or the flavors? What do we want the end result to be? And then we move towards that. So it's never a set. There's no set design. It's very fluid and it's very much a moving picture. Battle and Brew is incredibly involved in all things Atlanta geek related, I think. We are one of the primary, if not the primary sponsor for DragonCon's video game track. We help with MomoCon. We run events for both, I think, the MomoCon and the DragonCon staff. It has events up here that we put on. We look out for everybody. Anything that we can do to help our communities. I think we've done stuff. We did stuff for Gay Pride. We've done stuff for the geek communities. We did International Board Game Day. We did. Golly, I mean, there's not a thing that exists in Atlanta that is geek related that we don't try to help with, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's probably the best thing. It's definitely. We always want to be there, as that centralized hub, and we always want to be able to help where we can help. And so by doing so, we help ourselves, but ultimately we're just really big fans of the geek community, and that's what's most important. It can be very tough for a lot of geeks and nerds and gamers and stuff to get out and break out of their shell and meet new people. And I never want to force an introverted person to, come out here and then interact with other people or feel like they're not geek enough because they're not willing to come out here. I think that for a lot of geeks, it's important that they go out and socialize and then they meet people in person because it's a very human thing that we're supposed to do. And I think it brings a lot of empathy to a lot of people when you're sitting there face to face talking to them. A lot of people like to focus on the negative parts of our community, the toxic online community and things of that nature. And I think a lot of that is brought about by a lack of personal communication and human interaction. And I think that we serve to stress to people that it's important to have real life friends. We want you to play games with them. We want you to come in and talk smack to each other while you're playing fighting games. But I think that it's equally important to talk to them and see them in real life. One of the things that I've recently seen was a push from people who are in the fighting game community, the FGC, to say that just because the FGC's meetings, ostensibly, their tournaments are about competition, the core of the FGC competitive scene is about friendship. And a lot of those people go to those competitions because they get to see their friends that they may not see any other time of the year. And they get to be, companions, and they get to share in this great, camaraderie and event. And so I think that is actually I think the camaraderie and the friendship is more important than anything. So yeah, I do think that people should try to make it out here, and I think that it's great when people do, and they meet new people and they become friends. I think that but it takes time. And you never want to rush someone who's not necessarily ready for that into something that they're not comfortable doing. You can play video games, you can play board games, you can read comic books, you can read books, you can read manga. We have we have two big bookshelf libraries of American comic books, manga, and actual novels that were donated by customers that you can come in and read for free on your lunch break. You can eat. We have a great kitchen, as far as I'm concerned. You can try new beers. We have craft beers from all around the world. Or you can just shoot the shit. You can come in and talk. We love to talk. If you're talking about something I love, if you're talking about a video game I love, man, I will talk your ear off. If we're talking Dark Souls, or if we're talking about League of Legends, or we're talking about Smite, or we're talking about Warframe, or we're talking about World of Tanks, or if whatever it is. If it's something I'm excited about, I will listen to you talk, and I will talk, and we can have a conversation for hours about that stuff. I think I got in an argument with a guy last night about Gundam, what constitutes a Gundam and Gundam Endless Waltz, and I think that lasted for about an hour and a half. There's no reason to have that conversation other than the fact that he and I had differing views on what constitutes a Gundam, in a certain universe, and so that debate began. But it wasn't like a thing of ill nature. I think we both were really excited to talk about some Gundams, and so I think that's the best thing. I think that even if you're not gonna play video games, come in and have a conversation, talk to people, have a good time. It's good to talk with your mouths, not with your keyboards. The biggest changes recently in geek culture would probably be the strong push from the communities to create less hostility amongst each other. And I think that's important. I think that's probably the most important, if it's not the biggest, for all of us to focus on, is that, you know, we're still all people. Just because you hide behind the anonymity of a video game character doesn't mean you have to be this horrible, toxic person. I think that it's important to take care of each other. And you can see just how good gamers and geeks and nerds can be to each other when you look at how much goes into stuff like our favorite Kickstarter campaigns, or Patreon, or supporting writers that we love, things like that, things like acts of just like massive charity from gamers to raise money, the Child's Play thing. I think that is the first major step in the legitimization of like us as a culture, is that we now show empathy, charity, giving, all of that. We used to just be, to society, we used to just be a bunch of basement dwellers, that hid behind computer screens, and now we're everywhere. We're senators, we're chefs, we are the people that make the world run, and we're going to be in charge, and it's our culture and it's our society, and so we need to step up and be responsible for it, and change things for the better. And I think we're doing a great job so far. I look forward to the next decade. I don't think I've ever seen two people exactly the same walk in this bar, even when they're twins. And I say that because we hired a twin, and I've seen his brother a lot. We don't ever have, the same people come in every day. Every day is different. Every day has someone new, and they come from all walks of life. We get featured. We've been featured in some LGBTQ just magazines, and we get a lot of people from different walks of life that aren't necessarily treated with respect at other bars, and that's a terrible thing to hear about, but it happens. And so if we can be that place that is open to other cultures or societies or lifestyles or gender identities, then I'll totally be that. We'll be that all day. And we want, everyone to feel welcome and everyone to feel comfortable here. And that's why I think we have such a diverse crowd. It's because this is a place where we don't judge you, and that's the core in my philosophy, is that you shouldn't judge anyone. It's just not a good way of life. No, everyone is very well behaved on the old. I mean, people can get drunk, and drunk people will do drunk people stuff, but I don't think anyone's ever come in here and been openly belligerent. There are people who have come and looked around and clearly have identified that this isn't the place that they want to be at. And even if they showed disdain for the culture, ultimately, it's not my job to feel anger at them because they don't understand us. I can try my best to make them understand, or I can try my best to explain to them what it is and why we exist and how we came to be, but you can't get everybody. You're never going to get everybody on board. But I think it's important that you understand that you always get more bees with honey, and so it's important to always be respectful and honest and open, and approach every person with the respect that they deserve. You're asking me to pick one for my babies. All of my babies are my babies. Everything on the menu is my favorite, but obviously some things are more, I'm more happy with than others. I made a lot of the recipes. I think probably my favorite, the two things that I'm most proud of definitely are the chicken pesto quesadilla, which is a simple meal, but it's just something that people don't really think about, and then they try it and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And so I'm really happy with how that turned out and how that's gone. And the other would be the Triforce burrito, which has been one of our best-selling items forever, ever since I made it, and it's done better than I could have imagined, and I couldn't be prouder about that recipe. So I will continue to have it. If you ever want to try Force Burrito, you can come up and order one, and you will not be disappointed. It's great. My favorite beer is only available a couple months out of the year, and it's Southern Tier's Creme Brulee Stout, and I think we sell more kegs of it than anyone else in this state. So Southern Tier Creme Brulee Stout for like 3 months out of the year is my favorite. Blows everything out of the water. The rest of the year I drink pretty much just Hefeweizens. I used to live in Germany. It's where I learned to drink beer like a man. And so Hefeweizen has always been a big beer for me. I love drinking it. It's great, sessionable, the flavors are perfect. And anyone can drink it. I think it's a much more diverse beer than people give it credit for. My newest tattoo, I just got Cao Cao finished the other day. Well, not finished, he's not finished. This is gonna take me 3 or 4 more months. This is Cao Cao from Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Dynasty Warriors. He goes along with my Lubu, my Sun Jian, and then eventually I'll have this Liu Bei finished in a month or 2, but that's my Romance of the Three Kingdoms mural, which will cover basically from here to my wrist. And it's awesome. That's why they call me Lubu, because I have a massive Lubu tattoo on my wrist. And also because I'll kill you. Things to look forward to at the new location. Double the PCs, 3 times the size of the kitchen, 3 times the size of the building, more room for trivia, more alcohols, better food, bigger food, more food, awesome location, air conditioning in the summer, heat in the winter, a tabletop gaming room where you can play your tabletops, or you can even, like, we're gonna set up for like Warhammer, wargaming stuff, so you'll be able to do that. A more centralized location to Atlanta. I will be handsomer, I promise you that. I'm gonna get a haircut, it's gonna look good. You know, just everything. Everything is gonna be awesome, and we really hope you come and check out the new place. It's gonna be crazy, it's gonna be nuts. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Twitter, at chef_LU_BU, that's at Chef Lubu, like that young man there. Yeah, or Facebook, you know, if you really want to. I don't post on Facebook that much, but Twitter is easy, Chef Lubu, or you can come up to the bar and you can follow me around when I walk around the bar. I don't recommend it. I'm very jaunty and I move quickly in opposite directions because I'm always looking for work and stuff, but you know, check me out on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, Cooking with Lubu. I think it's just called Cooking with Lubu, but if you look up Cooking with Lubu on YouTube, you'll find my channel, and you can find a lot of different cool YouTube videos where I've made some really simple meals that are just really designed to help you discover a dish that's easy to make, that is kind of themed around a video game, and it's fun. I have a good time, I drink, it's silly videos. If you want to find more about Battle & Brew, you should like and subscribe to this, however that works. If you want to find out more about Battle & Brew, you can either go to battleandbrew.com. You can sign up for our newsletter there, that's easy. And then we send out an email, I think, once a month, and you can find out all the events that we have going on, because we always have a bunch. You can follow our Twitter, which is at Battle & Brew. You can follow our Facebook page, which is Battle & Brew. You can also come in here and sign up for Belly, and then that's our free rewards program that we have in the building. That's a thing you can do. Or you can just camp outside the building across the street at the grocery, at the gas station, but I don't recommend that. It's bold. Follow me on Twitter. I love you all. Be good people. Don't begrudge your neighbors. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have a good one.